All right, good evening and welcome to the April 28th, 2025 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. The time is now 7:16 p.m. and I do call this meeting to order. In the event of an emergency, please remain calm and exit through the double doors you came in and make a right and proceed to the stairwell. If the hallway is blocked, then exit to the left, around the corner, and down the stairs. Please do not use the elevator and let us know if you need any assistance. At this time, we do ask everyone please silence your cell phones. I do want to acknowledge our City Council intern, Miss Anissa Wallace-Coney, as well in the back there. Thank you for the work you've been doing, and thank you for spending the time with us this evening. I would ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I invite Pastor Greg Carlson from Seventh-day Adventist for our city invocation. Good evening, Mr. Park.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes.
And your budget discussions tonight made my stretching my own personal budget, put a roof on my house last week. So bad after all. The lateness of the hour, I'll keep my sermon short tonight. But no, it's great to see City Council at work and come and ask the Lord's blessing on you guys. I also have the Beacon of Light Adventist Church, which meets at Bethany Lutheran, corner of Camden and South, and a growing Spanish congregation there as well. We're looking for community service opportunities, so if you guys know anything, please let me know. So thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Father God, we thank you for the men and women in this room, their combined passion and desire to make this a better community for all of us in which to live and work and play. And we pray, Lord, that you will guide their decisions. And as we saw tonight, even hard decisions have to be made from time to time. And so, Lord, give them the courage to do the right thing, come what may. May there be a general consensus as often as possible and compromise when needed. And the agenda tonight, may you influence minds and hearts to do the right thing. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Carlson. Don't leave so soon.
Yeah, right.
You want to go with me?
At this time, we'll pivot to our city clerk, Miss Julie English, for the presentation of our agenda tonight.
Yes, good evening. We have our consent agenda that has a set of minutes on it and 4 appointment and reappointments. And then we have manufacturing exemptions, award a bid. We have a Tier 6 change order, resolution, and looks like 4 ordinances for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. English. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. I'd like to.
Any proposed changes or amendments to the agenda?
I'd like to motion to amend to move the resolutions to the resolution section of the agenda.
Councilman Gregory, are you referring to the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments or discussion on the amendments in the agenda?
No.
Okay. And just for note of clarity, moving forward, we will be presenting the resolutions for the consent agenda to the actual resolution portion. But thank you, Ms. Gregory, for noting that. All those in favor of adopting the agenda with the proposed amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the chair votes aye. The agenda is adopted. Ms. English, would you mind reading the consent agenda without the resolutions, please?
We have the October the 21st, 2024 special legislative session minutes, and we have 2 manufacturing exemption requests, both for Maytech, one for 2023 and one for 2022.
Thank you, Ms. English. All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye, and the consent agenda is adopted. This time we'll invite Ms. Jennifer Miller from Procurement up. I will entertain a motion to read award of bid ITB A-25-114 polymer chemical supplier.
Okay, very good, thank you. Oh, you want me to go
Yeah,
ahead?
entertain a motion.
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
So sorry, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're fine.
Okay. The Department of Procurement hereby seeks award of bid approval from the Salisbury City Council for the solicitation that we'll talk about this evening, in addition to 2 Tier 6 change orders. The city followed required bidding practices as defined by the Salisbury Charter and the Municipal Code of Ordinances, and publicly posted the solicitation for the city's competitively bid procurements on the City of Salisbury's procurement portal, Planet Bids, and the State of Maryland's website, eMaryland Marketplace Advantage. The first item this evening is, as you mentioned, ITB, invitation to bid number A-25-114. This was for a polymer chemical supplier for the Department of Waterworks, specifically for the wastewater treatment plant. This is to furnish and deliver a 12-month supply of polymer for rotary drum thickening and sludge belt dewatering. We posted the bids on January 22nd, 2025. Bids were opened on March 19th, 2025. We received 2 responsive and responsible bids. The lowest responsive and responsible bidder recommended for award is for Solenis LLC from Wilmington, Delaware. The estimated annual expenditure for this particular chemical is about $218,000 per year, as noted in your packet. The account noted in your packet is the one that will fund the chemicals for the year. This is a requirements contract wherein purchase orders are placed as needed. This contract does have an initial 1-year term with 2 optional 1-year renewals.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Are there any questions or discussion from the council?
No.
Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to award the bid ITB A-25-114 polymer chemical supplier. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, the chair votes aye, and the bid for ITB at A-25-114 to polymer chemical supplier is awarded. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to award the 2 Tier 6 change orders. First is RFP 24-102, Naylor Mill Water Main Extension Design Services -CO number 1.
So moved.
Second.
We do the 2 the same? Okay.
Whatever.
Let's do them
them
separately, if we don't mind.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, absolutely. So this one is for the Department of Waterworks. The original scope of work of this request for proposal was to design the water main extension, which will provide water service to the Naylor Mill Mobile Home Park. We originally bid this back in December of 2023. We awarded the contract in May of 2024. The original contract value was $183,700. The new contract value with this change order will be a total of $578,900. This vendor is A. Morton Thomas and Associates out of Rockville, Maryland. So this change order will provide the construction, administration, and inspection services during the construction of the Naylor Mill water main. So the total cost of the change order is $395,200. The account that's noted in your packet is funded to accommodate that change.
Are there any questions or discussion from the council? The motion on the floor is to award the change order RFP 24-102, Naylor Mill Water Main Extension Design Services. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. The change order for RFP 24-102 has been approved. I will entertain a motion to approve change order RFP 21-107 Paleo Water Treatment Filter Replacement -CO number 2.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Miller.
Very good. This is a change order for RFP 21-107, the Paleo Water Treatment Filter Replacement. This again was for the Department of Waterworks. The original scope of the proposal was the replacement of existing green sand pressure filters and to design a building addition to house the new fixtures. The original bid date was April of 2021. The original award date of the contract was August of 2021. The original contract value was $296,737. The new contract value with the previous change order plus this change order is $757,337. The vendor is GHD Incorporated out of the Pasadena, California. So the change order that we're talking about tonight is a total cost of $27,600. And it's for sample collection, additional testing, and data evaluation for the PFAS removal.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Any questions or discussion from the council?
None.
Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve the change order RFP 21-107. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye, and the change order RFP 21-107, Paleo Water Treatment Filter Replacement -CO number 2 has been approved. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you.
This time we'll pivot to our resolutions, and again, just for clarity, we will be presenting or reading the resolutions 3391 through 3394 from the consent agenda as well. Ms. Boucher, are you clear on that?
I am, do you want me to read?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. English, yes. At this time, I would gather a motion to approve resolution number 3391.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. English?
So beginning with the resolutions that were brought down from the consent agenda, resolution number 3391, appointing Rachel Fogarty to the Human Rights Advisory Committee for term ending April 2027.
Are there any questions or discussion from the council? Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 3391. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3391 has been adopted. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3392.
So moved. Second.
Ms. English?
Resolution number 3392, appointing Michael Langford to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee for term ending April 2028.
The resolution, any discussions or questions from council?
No.
Motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 3392. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Hearing to oppose, the chair votes nay. Resolution number 3392 was not adopted. I will gather a motion to approve resolution number 3393.
So moved. Second.
Ms. English?
Resolution number 3393, appointing Mia Carlotta to the Youth Development Advisory Committee for term ending April 2028.
Any questions or discussion from the council? All right, hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 3393. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3393 has been adopted. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3394.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. English?
Resolution number 3394, reappointing Matt Auchi to the Salisbury Historic District Commission for term ending April 2028.
Any questions or discussion from the council? All right, the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 3394. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3394 has been adopted. I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 3395.
So moved. Second.
Is it Ms. English?
Resolution 3395, amending the Salisbury City Council regulations and rules of order.
Any questions or discussion from the council? Motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 3395. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I
Councilman,
have a question. I have a problem. I can't go any further with this. I can't.
Anyway,
Wait a minute, I know y'all have the right to vote against something, but it's.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Jackson, the motion on the floor is
You
for...
know what? I don't care. Y'all wrong.
I understand the
You're
motion on the floor is to...
You're wrong.
The motion is for
You're
resolution
wrong.
3395. Any questions or discussion from the council?
And y'all know you are.
All those in favor of approving resolution number 3395, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Jackson? Any opposed? And the chair votes aye. Resolution number 3395 has been adopted. Councilwoman Jackson, do you have a point of order?
What did you say?
You have a point of order?
I have a problem. I really have a problem with how y'all just did 3392. What was the reason for denying this man? I mean, I don't get it, but I understand why. I understand why, but it wasn't right. And that's all I have to say. Y'all have that on y'all conscience, because y'all don't do things for the right reasons either. And that's all I gotta say. And I'm done with it. Y'all wrong.
Mr. President, yeah, I'd like to make a comment on that topic. We had a situation a week ago, when I was with a nominee for the
That's your board.
election board. Sorry, thank you. And, it was endorsed by the other two candidates, had attended the meetings, made suggestions, was certainly a good fit. And for whatever reason, there was some political, personal, whatever reasons to not nominate. I just think that's a really bad precedent.
Terrible.
And in the same game, so you can drop it, it's your right to do it, but I'm just saying, in the same way, Mr. Langford tonight, it's the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee? I mean, are we dipping that low? On political levels? I'm just asking. It's a question.
Mr. Mayor, the previous decision made by, I know, my choice
Sure.
previously was not political. It wasn't, I know you keep saying that, but it wasn't political in nature. Councilwoman Jackson, I respect your opinion. I've let you speak.
I
but
don't even want to hear no
But at this
more.
point.
I'm done.
but at
I'm
this-
done with it. I'm
Councilwoman-
done, and I don't need your
Council-
explanation.
Councilwoman Jackson, thank you. Just for some things that have been brought to my personal attention, I think that who we have on our boards and commissions do reflect us as a city. And I think so in moving forward, if things are brought to my
listening to people.
Councilwoman Jackson, that's twice that you've
I
interrupted.
don't care.
Wow, and that's really unfortunate. That's unfortunate, and I think here we make decisions as council people and not personally. Councilwoman Jackson, I'm now
You know
disappointed.
what I'm gonna say? I don't care what you don't do.
Okay.
I'm just saying how I feel. I have that right.
But I think giving someone the right to also speak to their opinions as well, as someone who I let you speak your piece on multiple occasions, and I do think it is rude to come back and to dismiss me, to physically dismiss me, but also I think that is just rude. And so just given that, I am going to move forward because I'm going to move forward.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have council comments and
As you dismiss me. I like it.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, you have the floor. Go ahead. You have the
Yeah,
floor.
I think this idea of not allowing people to say their mind has become a consistent pattern, which I think has reached a level, if you let me finish without interrupting, of not just disrespect. I think it's starting to play to the effect of allowing people to have an honest debate. And that's
When did
just
I not allow someone to speak their mind?
Have you not been watching PAC 14? Because I've been a
No, I'm
victim
saying
of it
right
multiple
here.
times. I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying right here. You so do you have I'm trying to.
Okay. All I was trying to make the point of was that this is a bicycle pedestrian committee. I mean, if anybody that wants to come forward, regardless of maybe their, personal, so anyway, long story, I just felt grossly uncomfortable with that. I mean, election board, maybe it's a little more, but even that, they were a qualified candidate that had been endorsed by the other two members of the committee, had been there. So I just want to send that message that, listen, I think we got to be careful here. Just saying. That's my view.
May I just add one thing, President? Sorry. I feel that if people are willing to serve on these committees, that they should be given the opportunity. And unless there is a blatant reason for voting no on anything that comes up, I almost feel that it is an obligation for this council to explain why we are not voting for someone who's willing to serve. Just
And
my
I
comment.
wholeheartedly agree. I think a public platform that is broadcasted out, I don't believe in airing out, even though it's been done to some of the people who are sitting up here. I don't believe in airing out personal grievances, but the things that have come to my attention from numerous people in the community, I do not feel right, and I will continue to do so, given whatever comes my way, things that have come my way over the last few months. I will continue to do so because of my personal convictions. The things that have been brought to my light, not only personally, I took out my personal convictions that have things that have been brought to me personally that have disrupted my life. I took those out, and the decision that I made was because other things that people have brought to my attention. And if you would like to discuss that offline, I will be more than happy to transparently speak to that. But I do not believe in airing out personal grievances. But the things brought to my brought to the light of me, I don't believe that we should have persons serving and representing our city in that way. And this is, again, taking out the personal grievances that that persons have done against me, Deshaun Dowdy, and Council President Deshaun Dowdy. I took those out of this decision. As a human, I should have, but I took those out, knowing that I will be casted out, just as we say here.
Council President, if I may.
Yes.
I would also like to offer what has been basically, I'd like to reiterate what Council President Dowdy has said. I have had constituents come to me directly about this particular item, and I will be happy to speak with you offline. But like President Dowdy, I do not feel comfortable speaking these things into a public meeting, and I don't think that any of the parties involved would be appreciative of that. So I'll be happy to speak with you outside of a meeting setting about this. And that goes for you too, Mayor.
President Dowdy, can I say something? We have requested to talk about these appointments jointly, as we are to make the decision jointly. So that hasn't been an opportunity to do so, which I think would avoid this piece of the process. But the other thing, as far as the rule of order, we did pass our rule of order tonight, didn't we? So in regards to having people speak, it's not about having people speak. It's just this is a process in how you run a meeting. And we went through that whole great big thing about the rules of order and what was this and what we were following. So we've passed that. We've had big public input. We've had council input. We've done that. So President Dowdy is following the rules of order. So look those up again and refresh yourself and understand how that actually functions. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make note that of the 4 people that I recommended, 3 of them got nominated, but I've never actually, I think I've nominated 40 or so since we started. I've never discussed one in advance of anybody, not because I didn't want to, because I just thought, well, they're willing to serve, and they seem, so we did a little due diligence on them, but that was it. And so it's a little disconcerting as of late. We've had a couple that have been denied, people that want to serve the community, so.
For the record and for clarification and transparency, Mayor Taylor, you did dismiss somebody on the face of their resume for the Human Rights Committee in January.
Yeah, I have the role to do my due diligence and make a recommendation, yeah.
And so do we.
Okay. Well,
So
there you
not
go.
to
And that's the same thing. You did your due diligence, we did ours. It's the same
Sure.
process. There's nothing different in the process.
not to silence anyone, I do want to get us back on track.
Thank you.
So if no one else has anything pertinent to say, I would like to move forward with the meeting here. Moving forward with our ordinances. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2929 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 2929, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to appropriate funds for the Park Well Field Raw Water Line Replacement Project. This is before you for first reading.
Any questions or discussion from the council? Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve ordinance number 2929. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. The motion passes, and ordinance 2929 is approved. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2930 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Boucher?
Ordinance number 2930, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Maryland State Arts Council for the purpose of accepting grant funds in the amount of $10,000 and to approve a budget amendment to the grant fund to appropriate these funds for expenses associated with the planning process for a new art installation in the city park. Again, before you for first reading.
Ms. Boucher? Any questions or discussion from the council? The motion on the floor is to approve ordinance number 2930. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. Ordinance number 2930 is approved. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2931 for first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ordinance number 2931, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury amending the city's vehicle and traffic code, including sections 10.04050, 10.04060, 10.04070, 10.04080, 10.04090, 10.08010, 10.16.010, 10.16.030, 10.24.010, 10.24.020, 10.24.030, 10.24.040, 10.24.050, 10.24.060, 10.28.010, and 10.28.030. It appears, based upon the discussion at work session, I was instructed to make changes to section 10.24.040 that would start at line 227. I believe that my changes were not included in the agenda. So what I would like to do is, I do have them here, read it into the record. If you recall, there was discussion about making sure we couldn't play, for lack of a better term, musical parking of the cars. So ordinance 2931 would read, starting with line 227, this is 2-hour parking restriction designated area. A 2-hour parking restriction. No person shall park a vehicle in one designated area in excess of 2 hours between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Such parking time limit shall be applicable for the total time period parked within one designated area, even if said vehicle is moved and parked in a different parking spaces within the same designated area. B, designated area. The 2-hour parking restriction shall apply to all public parking spaces located within the geographic area bounded by the following points. That's Ocean Gateway, the longitude, latitude are there for that, Carroll Street, same, Business Route 13, and Mill Street. The C section governing exemptions reads, the parking restrictions set forth herein shall not be enforced on any holiday recognized by the city. And I believe that was the change that was requested of me.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher. Ms. English, would you mind putting the corrected document to the next packet, please, so the public can see the changes that were presented and then subsequently, if approved? Thank you. Any discussions or questions from the council? The motion on the floor is to approve ordinance number 2931, including the amendments requested by council on 10.24.040, as read by Ms. Boucher. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. The motion passes. Ordinance 2931 is approved. I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2932 for first reading.
So moved?
Second.
Ordinance number 2932, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to adopt and set penalties for parking violations unless or until subsequently revised or changed. This is before you for first reading. This also, the amendments that were discussed at work session were not included in this particular agenda packet. So there was only one. It's on Exhibit 1. We were going to change parking by fire plug, changing to parking by fire hydrant, and increasing that fine amount from 35 to 75. So that change will be reflected before it's before you for second reading.
Thank you, Ms. Boucher. And Ms. English in the next packet as well. Thank you. Are there any questions or discussion from the council?
No.
Hearing none, the motion on the floor is to approve ordinance number 2932 with the amendment suggested by council from the last work session in Exhibit 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the chair votes aye. The motion passes, and ordinance 2932 is approved. Thank you, Ms. Boucher.
Welcome.
Also want to acknowledge any individuals that were appointed or reappointed to tonight's, to their respective boards and commissions. I do see one. Are there any other? I see Ms. Mia Carlotta here, joining the Youth Development Advisory Committee. Congratulations. Thank you for the work to your respective committee. If any persons are online, we acknowledge you and we thank you for your work to your respective board or commission. Good luck to you. And I do see one other member from the Bicycle Pedestrian Committee as well. Or sorry, for the Parks Committee. Yes, Parks. Thank you for being here. At this time, we will pivot to our public comments portion of the agenda. Those who are wishing to speak may stand before the podium. Again, you will have 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Kitzrow, will you have the...
Yep, I'm working on that.
Okay. If not, you'll see the time
It'll be right here.
indicated on his screen there. And just say your...
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lynn Bratton. I live in the city of Salisbury, and I will be brief tonight because it's late. I first want to congratulate the city on finding a way to do the brownfield remediations. I think that's going to be a positive move for that area of Salisbury, and it will certainly bring a lot of needed cleanup to that area and the potential for a wonderful place at that end of the Waikamaco River. It's been dysfunctional and in disarray for many years and boarded up and chain link fenced up, and it's time to get that done. I'd also like to give kudos to whoever is responsible, the mayor's office or et cetera, for the playground improvements that will be coming to one of our neighborhood playgrounds. It's good to see some of the city, state funds, whatever, however, wherever that money came from, actually go to service the areas outside of the city of the downtown and go out into our neighborhoods where those children need a place to play. Much like Ms. Jackson mentioned earlier, our children need activities. They don't need free time and they don't need idle hands. And those improvements will certainly provide them with much needed activity. Kudos to the cleanup groups that have been walking around our city from different weekends, after hours, cleaning areas. Much thanks go to them, and I hope that everybody goes back to the don't litter concept that I was raised with in elementary school. I don't know why it just seems okay to just drop your gum wrapper on the ground. I would put it in my pocket or in my pocketbook or somewhere until I found somewhere to throw it in a trash can. But it seems just fine to just put it down on the ground. So thank you for those people who are doing that and for the signage that says this area was cleaned by volunteers. I would recommend, and I don't like to be critical of something unless I come with a positive recommendation. And I think you guys have all figured that out, I hope, from now. But I would recommend perhaps, with this whole situation about appointing people to committees and commissions, I would recommend that perhaps an interview process become part of that process for placing people in the mix. I feel as though innuendo and inference and rumor has played into some of the decisions that have happened, possibly, I don't know, but I feel like it's not coming from the person's mouth themselves, and I think anybody that wants to step out into the public arena and serve on a commission or a committee should have the right to answer whatever complaint or concern the people voting on them may be presenting, and be able to answer whatever that former, past, current, way long time ago issue might have been, People may have ghosts or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the situation was with either of the two clients, but I feel like they needed to have the opportunity to say, this is why I want to serve. This may be what you've heard about me, but this is what I'm now focusing on, and this is why I want to step into the public arena and volunteer my time. That's all I have to say. Please consider an interview process so that you can have a first-hand conversation with these people and not just blatantly say, no, no, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Mike Perunsky. I'm on the Parks Committee, here to represent. I just want to take the opportunity tonight to thank both our Parks Manager, Matt Ober, and Brandon from the Streets Department. These two gentlemen really went above and beyond in terms of completing a small improvement in our city park. It was brought on by conversations from community members identifying a need, which was to create a more accessible section of trail adjacent to the zoo, so on the South Park side of the zoo. They are part of the Ben Layton 5K, Catherine Layton and Jill Fancher, who operates Team 360, which is an organization that serves differently abled athletes. So it's just an incredible achievement, and I think it's just an example of what we can continue to do in our trail system to make these spaces more accessible to differently abled people. And I just wanted to, I did hear in some of the budget conversations that there was going to be some funding available to all the committees, not just the BPAC and the Green Team. We do appreciate that. I've been asking our committee members for ideas in terms of what they would like to do with a small budget. And it's something that basically everyone that joins our committee asks. That's literally the first question they ask. So we'll have something to work towards this year. We've got a whole list of ideas planned in terms of just how to really maximize those dollars and putting them right back into improvements in the parks. A couple other things I'll mention here, but one thing that I've heard April bringing this up in terms of a summer program, but I think we should really look at adopting sort of a park ambassador program, and this would be an individual or individuals from the community who can either be at the park during high use times or just provide regular input to the city parks committee. Whether they're a member or not is really not that important. I think it's just important to have people that are engaged that want to continue to make suggestions or take advantage of resources that we have to bring them to the park. And I did want to make one last note here, kind of unrelated to parks, but to the parking ordinance that we're discussing in terms of parking rules. I still didn't hear any changes in terms of providing for service vehicles parked on downtown streets. And it's my hope that we're not going to force people in trades who are trying to service downtown businesses and housing units to park in the garage and then have to lug bags of tools and possibly lots of other equipment into the business to service them. So if we can continue to look at that and try to find a workaround for that, I think it would be appreciated. So thanks.
Thank you for that. We'll look into that as well.
Good evening. Carol Greenwood, President of the Shoemaker Manor Condominium Association. 10 members of our community are here tonight to address the issue of our construction roads, which was first brought to the attention of the city in 1995 by Mr. Vernon Rivers. We were promised actual roads once the final units were built. Mr. Rivers is here with us tonight to try once again and get a resolution to this issue that has been plaguing our community for over 27 years. We've addressed the issue with several administrations, yet no progress has been made in resolving this issue. Last August, we met with Mayor Taylor, who stated that even though he could not give us a timeline for the completion of our construction roads, he did say repairs would be made regarding the potholes. Ironically, the potholes were filled 2 weeks ago after a letter and a petition was sent to the council and the mayor's office. It took 8 months to get the potholes filled, and we've been waiting over 27 years to have the roads finished. I would like to share the contents of a letter that was sent to the mayor and council so that it can be included in the minutes of this meeting. We, the residents of Shoemaker Manor, are reaching out once again regarding the condition of our roads and the longstanding neglect of infrastructure investment in our neighborhood. At this point, we are simply not requesting your attention, we are urgently calling for your commitment and follow-through. This is no longer a minor concern or an isolated complaint. We have now collected over 130 signatures from Shoemaker Manor residents who have expressed their frustration and unified support for the action, and you all have received copies of the petition. Over the years, we've gathered signatures, made calls, written letters, and waited patiently through multiple administrations, yet the promises made to this community over 27 years ago remain unfulfilled. What we have today in Shoemaker Manor are not completed roads. They're ugly, broken, and incomplete construction roads. They remain in a patchwork state, riddled with potholes, poor drainage, crumbling surfaces, and broken curbing. No other neighborhood in the city should have to endure this level of neglect, and neither should Shoemaker Manor. In fact, the existing roadway is not even constructed to any local or state specification and is severely lacking the structural stability required for long-term use. The poor foundation increases the rate of wear and tear, posing safety risks to drivers and pedestrians alike. We are respectfully requesting a formal response from the city outlining where we stand, what the plan of action is, and when we can expect measurable progress. The time for silence and delays has passed. We want transparency, communication, and accountability. Our community cares deeply about where we live, and we believe it's only fair to expect the same care and commitment from our local leaders. We hope to work together in a positive direction to bring long overdue improvements to Shoemaker Manor. In the past, when we've come before you all, the attention has been on the lack of the final top layer that is needed to bring the level of the road up to that of the curbing, and which would address our concerns with potholes and dips that can cause damage to our vehicles and falls for walkers and bikers. However, upon further investigation, it has been brought to our attention that a final top layer is not the answer that we need. The infrastructure underneath our existing roadway is not sufficient to support any repairs that have been offered at some time in the future.
I'll let you finish your final thought.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I realize that every time you guys come up with something new, which is wonderful, I think the youth thing is great, but every time you come up with something new, as the mayor said, something old has to give, and the hole just keeps getting dug deeper and deeper, and that is why our request for repairs to the street has gone from a want to a need. Paula Donalds will now share what she has discovered after several conversations with Heather Langford, the county engineer. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, council and members. I'm Paula Donalds. I live in Shoemaker Manor. I'm here once again to bring attention to the critical safety issue affecting our neighborhood. I did email the photos to you this afternoon. President Doughty, I hope that you did receive those photos. Thank you. The current state of our roads, and I have spoke directly with our Wacomico County engineer, Ms. Heather Langford, and she's sitting here tonight. She confirmed that the roads in our community are in a state of complete structural failure. These findings are further supported by the data from the Salisbury GIS platform. This is not a new request, nor is it a recent development. The pavement in Shoemaker Manor is exceptionally thin, well below the standard thickness required for long-term stability. As a result, the roads are severely cracked and are deteriorating at a rapid pace. More concerning, however, is the absence of the proper subbase. There is no underlying stone layer to support weight distribution and stability, which has resulted in widespread alligator cracking. The material found beneath the thin layer of asphalt appears to be, and I'm going to say this word wrong, loamy clay, a highly unsuitable base due to its tendency to expand, contract, and resist proper compaction. These conditions are These conditions only accelerate the breakdown of the roadway. This is a priority safety issue that demands immediate attention. The compromised state of our roads threatens the stability of our neighborhood and the safety of every resident. Without proper reconstruction, we risk conditions with emergency vehicles and residents can't safely navigate to their homes. A situation that's unacceptable and preventable. Ms. Langford shared with me that a simple mill and overlay is not the feasible solution. The existing pavement is only 1 to 1.5 inches thick. While mill and overlay operations typically require a minimum of 2 to 3 inches, attempting such a fix would likely cause the roadway to collapse further. Without a complete reconstruction, the streets will continue to degrade, potentially to the point where they become impassable. This is no longer a routine maintenance issue. It has become a matter of public safety that must be prioritized to restore confidence in the stability of our infrastructure and ensure safe access for all. In addition, Ms. Langford's professional assessment, she personally observed an open cut in the roadway, confirming that the condition firsthand, and Tom Stevenson, the Assistant City Administrator, is also aware of the situation, and he is sitting here tonight as well. City leadership is informed, and so now are you, City Council. Shoemaker Manor cannot be overlooked any longer. We respectfully request the FY26 budget include funding for a full and proper reconstruction of our roads, not years down the line, but immediately upon budget approval. We are not asking for temporary patches. We're asking for a solution that ensures the safety of our residents, protects our homes, among our most valuable assets, and provides assurance of knowing that emergency vehicles and residents can safely reach our destinations, our homes. It's important to note that the GIS rating alone do not reflect the true condition of these roads. This is not a cosmetic issue. The roads are structurally compromised. Several residents have joined me here this evening because we care deeply about our neighborhood, and they're my neighborhood, they're my friends, and these are the people that we all are here this evening. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. We urge you to act swiftly and decisively for the safety, stability, and future of Shoemaker Manor.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Heather Langford. I'm the manager engineer for Wacomico County. I was contacted about this particular roadway, this development. Fortunately, I think a little prior to being reached out to, I had been on a project at this particular location. I did see an open cut. And I think one of the biggest things that we need to think about is the standards of our roadways. Basic city standard for a typical roadway, we're not talking heavy traffic, we're not talking major arterial. Standard 211, minimum 1.5 surface, 2-inch base coat, 6-inch CR6, and a 6-inch sub base. What you see in the pictures that were sent to you is about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches of a top base. No stone, no sub base on top of clay. This is probably one of the worst conditions you can be in. Having clay under a moving, malleable, very thin base coat or top coat. I'm going to assume it's a base coat, and it was not a finished top coat, which is still not thick enough. That clay in those pictures, you can see even within the cracks. There's a crack and you see subbase. There's no stone. You should have that. You can't have this flexing of this material, freeze thaw. Once you get that alligatoring, you have water get under that asphalt, and it's just going to continue to crack. It's going to go to your curb and gutters. It's going to go to your sidewalks, and it's just going to continue around until it meets a different crack. So I've been looking through the comprehensive plans. I've looked at a lot of the city has a fantastic GIS system with the poor, fair, good ratings. I think one of the variations that you'll see is there are some locations that are listed as severe and theirs is listed as poor. However, when you go in and look at these roads and you click on it and it says poor, it's saying high, severe alligator cracking. High, severe cracking, transverse cracking for X amount of feet. And you'll see discrepancies where something in severe is low, severe with cracking. It doesn't fully match up with poor versus severe when you're looking at the legends that you're going to see. So again, looking at the paving policy, definition of repave is to remove and replace minimum of 1.5 of hot mix. Reconstruction is removing existing placement and section and reconstructing the roadway in accordance with pavement section in the typical street section. Reconstruction shall be applied to circumstances where the existing cross-section does not meet the current standards. And this was all approved per Resolution 2298, superseded by 1312. We have some very wise, seasoned individuals that have to use these roadways. They walk them, they travel them. There is lips within the manholes. It's going to become it's already a little unsafe, and it's becoming more and more unsafe. So I just ask you to reconsider some of that financial infrastructure money that was pulled. They've been waiting like 20 years. So 30, sorry. So wisdom and season. So just thank you.
Yep. And just a point of clarity, we didn't pull any of the, we kept the funds where they were.
Oh, okay. Sorry
Yes,
about
yeah.
that.
Just. No, and we'll move the,
I'm usually loud enough anyway that I don't need the mic. I'm used to, I've worked in the public 30-some years.
want to make sure for the folks online.
Oh, they can hear me. They can probably hear me way upstairs.
Thank you.
My name's Richard Stratz. I'm Vice President of the Association at Shoemaker Manor. And I'm approaching it really from the safety aspect. As you can see, unfortunately, I was dealt a bad hand of cards. I'm in a wheelchair now. And the roads have come to the point they are becoming inaccessible to people with disabilities. They are in violation, or close to in violation, of ADA, the newest ADA regulations, Title II, and also the PROWAG regulations, which are the public right-of-way accessibility guidelines. These roads do not meet either one of those types of guidelines, and they are a lawsuit waiting to happen for the state of, or for the city of Salisbury. And if I just want to go, I'll give off on a personal note, if I just want to go to a neighbor's, I have no sidewalks. There are no sidewalks in the neighborhoods. The only accessible way is either to get in a vehicle and drive 10 feet or use my wheelchair. And the roads now are to a point, it's a danger for people in wheelchairs, on scooters, to use those roads. It's becoming a point where it didn't intend to be a retirement community, but as an older aged community. I'm one of the younger people in there in my 60s. And right now, thank you for your support. Bartles and James over here. And it is, and it's just to the point I feel that the first time it's going to happen, because this has been brought to the board a number of times, there will be a lawsuit to the city, and the lawsuit won't start with 4 or 5 figures. It'll start 6 or 7 figures because of the number of times that we've come before the board, the number of times that we have not had a finished road, the number of years that we've been denied a finished road, looking at 30 years. and also the readings and the regulations in ADA and ADA Title II and the PRO-WAG rules. So I think those things need to be looked into, especially with Miss, is it Bosch? Boucher. She can expound upon more of those better than I can, but I'm just newly, in the last couple of years, in a wheelchair and becoming more familiar with those. And also, while I'm up here, if you said something about the accessibility for the centers. I would love to volunteer to work on any kind of committees about accessibility, because what people see as accessibility is not truly what is accessibility. What meets the letter of the law is not what meets the needs of an accessible client.
Mr. Gregory has a,
My son, my oldest is in a wheelchair.
Oh, so I'm preaching to the choir.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
So it's, someplace you go, do you have an accessible bathroom? Yes, we do. You go in there and you can't even get when I was using a walker, you walk her through the door. It's accessible because it has a bar.
Yeah.
Well, I can go to any bar. But anyway, I just want to thank you for your time, and please consider that. But please, Ms. Boucher, enlighten them on the ADA and the titles and the PRO-WAGs, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
he's coming back.
My name is Vernon Rivers. I've lived in a Shoemaker for 34 years. We were the first people there. We rented at first because we bought the model, and we were all wrapped up in Maryland condos all at that time. But I served on the first two boards of that place, one with Milt Crew, who designed and built the place, and one with Paul Elliott, who finished after it went bankrupt. But I can remember going to the City Roads Committee, or person, and speaking to him, and he said, "Mr. Rivers, don't worry about it. As soon as this construction is over, we will put your new roads down." That was 1995, I think. Beside the roads, we have no sidewalks. The gutters are terrible. You'll spend more money trying to fix the gutters than fixing the roads. And because of that, the roads being so below the gutters, our water problems are a problem. It's a beautiful neighborhood, but we're going to have dirt roads in 5 more years if you put it off. We won't have any paved roads. The fire engines come in there quite a bit to pick up people, and the ambulance. And they're going to go through a pothole soon. And then you'll wonder why you'll have to repair a fire engine. And that's no cheap to do. I am probably the oldest person here at 92. And my wife and I have lived there. We love it. We like the people. And I'd like to see you do something, because you keep giving us put off. We'll take care of it another time. And you can't put off anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Priscilla Timken, city resident, and I actually am a board member of the Shoemaker Manor Association, and I hope to get your attention because I'm going to be really brief. I just want to reiterate, number one, this is not a cosmetic issue whatsoever that this neighborhood is dealing with. It truly is a safety issue for the community. I was part of the brigade that went around to get the signatures, and I want you to know there were maybe 3 homes where we never found anybody over a 2-week period at home. Maybe we were in Florida or whatever, but we resoundingly got appreciative and grateful responses from everyone in this community willing to sign and to say thank you for bringing this issue before the city once again. So we respectfully request that we be put on the CIP, or CPI.
and get your attention to an issue that really has very serious safety concerns in our community on these city streets. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? What basically I wrote down would be very redundant because these people have explained it very well, the conditions of the roadways, the safeties of the roadways, and, you know, just a couple questions. I mean, it is a retiree development communities. I mean, you watch some of these people walking and say, man, they step the wrong way and they fall, they're going to get hurt. And they're going to get hurt bad, you know, and I look at that and that's, to me, it's just something that should never happen with, and I don't want to throw this into the thing, but, you know, with the amount of taxes you pay and paying 35 years of taxes, how much has been thrown in the kitty and nothing been done? So I did get an opportunity to look last year that what you see is a base coat. When they ran the line up from down below, from the county up to us, you could see it clearly. And one of the city people, one of your city guys said, I asked me, is that the original layer? He said, yeah. I mean, I'm not anything bad, but you know, it's just something that has been going on for, you know, it's been going on and should have been taken care of before things got a lot worse. However, there is one other point I'd like to make, is everyone's primary investment anywhere is their home. And, you know, where we have a really nice neighborhood, but when you drive around, you see grass coming through the roads, sewer caps up high. It's just, it takes a lot out of, you know, that first appeal or the first look at a home. And like I say, these other people more or less described everything, and I don't want to be redundant. So, but thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to politely let all the shoemaker people come up with your thing. 30 years later, I mean, all you guys got to have a block party once this is finished. Sheesh. When it's finished. Nathan Cox, of course, Salisbury City residents. And I'm not going to be too long. Several little points I want to bring up, short each one. The first one is similar to what you guys are all talking about, but whole different area of the city. So I just want to see if we can get some updates on things eventually, because some people I know and people in general can be impatient. It's just nature of humans. I believe this was something talked about, so I heard at the very end of the Day administration, maybe the only thing that I actually approved of him, no offense to him, was when I heard there was going to be a sidewalks on the northern quarter, anywhere north of Zion Road. And with the new restaurant opening up, more businesses still happening, more than 20 years later of businesses developing up there in the northern quarter, no sidewalks. Pedestrian nightmare is still there, so I'm curious as if this is still in the works in current administration, or if anything is happening there to begin with. Also, just a quick update. When I made a speech, I guess we could call it, a whole spiel about how we are the worst city in all of Delmarva when it comes to public transportation as of the last few years. I'm curious, I heard a lot of good stuff about how, yes, we need to fix that. Okay, so are we? Is there any updates about that? I'm curious a bit if anyone's doing anything about that, no matter how big or small the updates are. Yeah, we'll get a bus in the next year. That's an update, you know. Not much of one, but yeah. And lastly, second to last thing, was the railing next to, on the river. I know that when we had half a dozen people die last summer over drownings, or maybe more, and the librarians came here pretty much vehement about that. And then Ms. Blake was pretty much excited about getting that up and running. Let's fix that. Well, is there an update about that? Are we putting the railing back? We're gonna fix it so this summer, now that the heat's coming back, we don't have a repeat of last summer. Once again, that could be a legal issue for the city. But also, last thing, applause to, I believe, finally we're doing something with Carroll Street. I am very happy about that. That was also a nightmare because of the confusion. I'm glad that I saw in the news at least that there will be pavements and it'll be a less confusion street finally. So just want to get some updates about these two things. Hopefully things are progressing along, especially on these roadways. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. I know that we went as far as Northwood Drive, but I believe administration will have an update on that with the update to the Safe Streets program in the next couple meetings for your answer about Zion Road. So thank you for that.
Hi, everyone. Molly Hilligoss, resident of Salisbury. I just wanted to remind the public that the comprehensive plan update focus groups are coming up, and that's a perfect opportunity for the Shoemaker Manor community to show up for those focus groups and talk about, this investment that needs to happen in your neighborhood, and it needs to be documented in those meetings. If you can't make the meetings, the city has on their website an email for you to forward all your comments, and those comments have to be considered. So actually tomorrow is the first focus group meeting. It's on land use, municipal growth, and economic development. Tuesday, May 6th is transportation and community facilities. May 20th is housing and historic and cultural resources. And June 12th is water resources and environmental resources and sustainability. And so this 10-year comprehensive plan is how, my belief is that's how the city is going to create their future CIP. So this is where your voice needs to be most effective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Robert Taylor, city resident. I was very pleasantly surprised when I pulled into the parking garage at about 5:45 tonight not to be late for this meeting, which was to begin at 6. The reason I was pleasantly surprised is the speed bumps are gone. So my suggestion is that whoever thought that one up deserves more than a COLA pay raise next year. That was a great idea. The reason that I did come was to address comments that have been made at the last two meetings by Matthew Drew regarding the, I guess we'd call it the density situation. According to Mr. Drew, and I'm quoting, there was a recent court ruling that is preventing the Board of Appeals from considering certain types of variances, including those related to increased density. First of all, that's wrong, and secondly, it's really almost nonsense. The case he's referring to was the one where Judge Jackson here in the Circuit Court shot down the request by Salisbury Town Center Apartments for a special exception for a density increase, not a variance. Didn't even involve the variance. The reason that the judge shot down the special exception method was because the state law requires for an increase in density that you do it by a variance. So what Mr. Drew is saying is just ridiculous. And believe it or not, he's a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, if you can believe. He goes on to say, right now there's no legal process to approve these requests. Well, that's nonsense. We have the same zoning definition of variance that is in the state law and is in many other municipal and county zoning codes. And we also have a provision in the zoning code that says the Board of Appeals can grant variances. So anybody can come in and ask for one, Salisbury Town Center Apartments could have come in and asked for one. They didn't. They asked for a special exception. Yeah, they might have gotten turned down for a variance by the board. The board turned down their special exception. I think it's pretty logical to assume they would have probably shot down a variance as well. But what he's saying is just absurd. He goes on to make it sound like, oh, this is a matter of great importance, so we've got to drop everything and take care of. Don't have to do a thing. The city code right now provides for variances. If somebody wants one, they can ask for one. So that's the main thing I wanted to say. The other thing, just a couple of thoughts. I think we need to start thinking about the new Planning Commission rules. I'm working on that. I'm doing a little research, looking at a few other places. The code has not been revised for quite a while. Since 1972, we've had this joint city-county planning and zoning commission. We're now going to dispose of that and just have our own. So I think it's a good idea to take a hard look at the code on this regard. The other thing is, we had a series of meetings run by Mr. Doughty last fall about things we could do to improve affordable housing. One of the thoughts was we could impose a requirement on developers that if you're going to have a certain number of units, so many of them have to be for affordable housing. What's ever happened to that? I thought we were on our way to doing something. And I believe in this last session of the General Assembly, they now allow pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, for apartment projects that have affordable housing. I believe it's only if they're nonprofit groups. Do you know, Molly? I think the statute only relates to a nonprofit group that's doing it. I may be incorrect on that. But in any event, I think it's time that we started doing something rather than just talking about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
The first word is the hardest part. Hello. My name is Michelle Nelson, and I live in Salisbury, although we lost Deshaun. Although I live outside of city limits. I've lived here for 30 years, and I've always been active in the community. And I'd like to thank the person, the lady that gave a shout out to people that clean up trash, because I've been doing it for about 5 years. We've cleaned up a lot of trash. But I'm here tonight to talk about the bridge in the city park. An iconic part of the landscape in Salisbury is the White Bridge. It's a landmark in the city, and it's been featured in photographs, artwork, and in websites. In fact, when I looked for something notable to feature on the homepage of a running website I developed specifically for this area called rundelmarva.org, an easy choice was a picture of this historic bridge. This bridge is long overdue for repair or even, unfortunately, replacement. There's rotten wood all along the railings on both sides at the top and bottom, and in quite a few sections, chunks of wood have completely rotted away and are missing. Screws are exposed by inches as the wood has decayed and has fallen right off. Some pieces where the bottom should be attached to the base of the bridge are hanging loose. This bridge needs much more than a cosmetic facelift or a coat of paint. I believe it's dangerous for the community. For as much use as the bridge receives, with many people enjoying the park for recreation and public events, such as the recent Salisbury Marathon, it would behoove you to make the repair of the city bridge a high priority and get it done as soon as possible. I will follow this up with emailing you, each of you, my remarks with pictures of the bridge included. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Again, this is on any and all topics. Final request, any comments from the public? All right. Hearing none, this legislative session is now adjourned. We will convene to our work session. Time is now 8:30. We will start with a presentation from our Salisbury Fire Department for 2025 first quarter update and CRA. So I welcome members from our fire department. If you all can state your name and title for the record, and then I'll kick it off to you all.
Give me
couple seconds to get this up.
Sure.
I'll introduce myself in the meantime. I'm Kyla Cupp. I work with the Information Services Department.
Wonderful.
Under the Data Services subgroup.
Yes.
Good?
Thank you.
Okay. Rob Frampton, Fire Chief. So Kyle and I are here tonight, kind of an abbreviated, since we're a little late, but also there's been, the county's going through a CAD transition, so we don't have a lot of fire data numbers. So a lot of tonight's going to be EMS, Fire Marshal's Office, and then Kyle is along to talk about, along with me, our community risk assessment that she had a big hand in playing. So first up, first quarter 2025, calls were up 5.9%. That's higher than what we trended last year. Last year we were a little over 4%. Predominantly, EMS calls were up 6.28%, which continues to take a toll on our units, our personnel, and equipment. And of course, costs are up, as everybody knows. So, no surprise that total fire unit responses are also up year over year. And we are now under one fire EMS call for service every 29.5 minutes. So that number is usually always above 30, but now it's been under that. So,
And Chief, can you just underscore the average time for a call and then to transition to another call?
typically an EMS unit takes about an hour per call.
Okay.
So that's, again, there's a lot of things that are in there. There's wait times at the hospital. If the hospital is really busy, sometimes we can wait 10, 15, 20 minutes for a hospital bed. We're very fortunate. Units across on the Western Shore are waiting 2 hours at the hospital to get a transfer. So it's putting a huge strain on resources. But we're very fortunate here, and something we monitor all the time. We track our patient turnover times. So once we arrive at the hospital, and then patient turnover is reported. So that's just a brief chart there to show the increases year over year in those, with the exception of EMS calls outside of our fire district, is roughly the same. Breaking it down a little further, incorporated versus unincorporated. I know Councilwoman DeShio asked in one of the budget sessions about the rough breakdown for EMS calls in our municipal district versus outside. So it's about 31%, and that's usually what it runs. About 31% of our calls, fire and EMS, are outside of the municipal limits. And like I said, the fire call breakdown is unavailable. The county's going through a CAD transition, and we've had a bunch of skewed data in the last part of March, first part of April. So we're kind of fishing through those things. Hopefully I'll have that for you at the 6-month check-in. Let's see where we're at. The Fire Marshal Services, it's a 3-to-1 ratio for property saved versus property lost, so that's pretty impressive. No civilian or firefighter deaths, which is always a great thing. And we have investigated 10 fires within the city limits. So we investigate fires for causal factors, cause and origin. Anything criminal gets turned over to the State Fire Marshal's Office. And they recently investigated a fire in April down on the plaza that ended up being criminal in nature. And that's the only one I know of in our fire district for the first quarter. You may have seen our recent press release on the solar panel. It's a caught fire out off of Pemberton. Just a word from our fire marshal's office is just to make sure that if you have solar panels on your roof, make sure you're checking, getting them cleaned underneath of there. Some solar panel manufacturers actually sell pest guards, but what had happened was the rodents had gotten underneath of there, made a nest, and then chewed through the wires. We did have a casualty at that call, but it did cause some significant damage to the roof there for that individual. So, nursing home calls. I know this has been a topic of conversation with the mayor. He's not here right now, but from the mayor's office on how we can address these. We've taken a strong stance with several of our what we call super user facilities, and we've seen some significant improvement. The big take-home line there is the fourth bullet point down. In 2024, 76% of the calls ended up being basic life support or no transport. That number's down to 50%, which is significant improvement. That means we're actually getting called for true emergencies, more so than we were just getting called where somebody would refuse care, would end up being a BLS call. So our SWIFT and MDCN team has recently started going to these facilities again. In the month of March, they had 9 calls at these facilities, which has also helped combat these frequent users. Some things that we've done, we continue to integrate our SWIFT and MDCN teams into these facilities. We have monthly call reviews for the justification of their 911 use. And one of our super user facilities has a new medical director, as well as more on-site staff, which has significantly reduced their need to call 911. They used to be our #1 user, and now I'd say they're probably 3rd or 4th. And just looking at some stuff. And along with that, they've revamped some of their internal clinical procedures. So again, a short little breakdown of what the fire department has been doing for the first quarter. And now, while we are really here, hopefully this will come up. And why Kyla is here is we have spent several months, the last 6 to 9 months probably or longer, working on our community risk assessment. I mentioned it before, but now it is up and running, it's forward facing. And Kyla, along with Lieutenant Bond and our Fire Marshal Eric Kramer, have had significant input on this. And what this does is it's basically, Kyla took a lot of data and analyzed it over the last 2 years and developed our top 10 EMS risks, as well as our top 10 fire risks for our community. I'm not sure that the department or the city has ever done anything like this to look a little bit internally so we can better plan and prioritize some of our planning, some of our programs that you'll see coming out, and some of the things that we already have going on. So I don't want to steal your thunder, but I can certainly...
No, you can go ahead and scroll through.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of it is just about community awareness and putting the data out there in the public so that people can be, use the knowledge that we have to make actionable decisions. So the next step after the community risk assessment will be our work on community risk reduction, which they are kind of, already in the process of doing. It's just about using our data services department along with what they collect through the fire department to kind of capture the metrics of what they're already doing. So this is available to the public. I highly recommend anybody who's interested to go out and find this and click on it. I think he's done a pretty good job of promoting it.
It's on our website, it's on the city's website, it's on our social media. You can find the links to it. It is intended to be forward-facing. Some of the things, obviously a message from the fire chief, a little bit of history about the department, a little bit about the city and our fire district, so people can come get educated on what is our municipal fire district and what is our county or non-municipal fire district, and learn about that, maybe look and see where they are so they can then identify the nearest fire station to them. It has a breakdown here of demographics for different areas. Again, this is all interactive. People can click on different things. You can sort this down to Station 1's area, Station 2's area, in the city, out of the city, and it'll break down all of the regional demographics for you with that.
Hey Rob,
Yeah.
if they're following along, I don't know if you want it up there. Just,
no.
You have 2 different screens, so it's missing. Sorry to
Okay.
interrupt. Yeah.
So
It's maybe it's just,
will it just-
it's just grabbing the wrong one.
How about that?
Presentation mode kind of throws things off. Yeah. There you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so I don't know if you saw this part. I'll just quickly scroll through, but this talks about what the community risk assessment is to the left. There's some nice graphics there. Some of our team members, old fire headquarters downtown, a little bit about the history, a message from myself. And then there's about the fire district breakdown, so people can actually see the large, county portion that we have. Obviously, County District 1 is mostly fields and things going out towards what I would call East Fruitland and down towards Wongo and Snow Hill. Here's the demographic breakdown for the entire fire district. Lots of information there. It's all interactive, so when you take the time to go there and take a look at it. These are some photos of our 3 facilities, so Station 16 and our administrative headquarters. There's Station 2 and Station 1. And then Councilwoman Gregory asked if we were going to be able to have somebody come and type in their address to find out how far they lived from the nearest fire station, so they can interact with this. They come up here and they would hit, I believe they hit the expand, right? And they type in their address, 123 Main Street, and it'll actually show in a different shade of purple whether they're 2 minutes, 4 minutes, or 8 minutes away.
That's fantastic. I love that. That's great.
It gives them,
That's
if they're
amazing.
looking to move to the area and they
Mhm.
they really care about their safety and they want to live close to a firehouse.
They're big on it.
And
Hey, that was a deciding factor for us when we
Yeah.
bought our house, was making sure that emergency services were within a certain time period, because it could mean a
Exact-
difference.
Exactly. So, how far, what kind of risk you're willing to take with regards to where you want to purchase your house. These are some of the dashboards, or one of the dashboards that she's put together that looks at our data that she's put in. So obviously, it shouldn't be no surprise that our number one risk is motor vehicle accidents with injuries, and then motor vehicle accidents with no injuries. So, and then it goes down into fire alarm activation, smoke detectors. When it says assist invalid, that's more of like your subject fall-ins and people that we pick up. So we use this to then guide us. So for types of equipment we need to purchase, what we need to specialize on, some of our training, and as well as a bunch of other things that, as far as responses go. When looking at EMS, this is the EMS call breakdown. So sick person is a general term, so that can be a little bit misleading, but I want you to look at falls, which is number 2. This has led us to create a safe fall initiative program, which is where anybody who has a fall that's not transported to the hospital is then followed up by our SWIFT MDCN team, and they go in and do an in-home assessment, and then they can then refer them out for treatment, whether that be physical therapy, whether that be that they need, a lot of people, believe it or not, simply need glasses because they can't see where they're walking, or rugs or grab bars or things like that. And then the list goes on, and Kyle updates this on a regular basis. And you could keep going down. If I'm missing anything, just chime in. Here are our fire-related calls based on our fire district. So you can see, obviously, the bulk of our calls are in and around the residential population of the core city is. And that they can zoom in, zoom down on that as well.
I think it tells you the type of call if you click in. I mean, all of it's interactive, all of it you can play with, filter out what kind of calls you want to see, and kind of focus in on where they're spending a lot of their time.
Nice.
Again, she mentioned risk reduction, so this leads into some of the risk reduction initiatives we're doing. Our fire marshal's office does a lot of this, along with our SWIFT team. It mentions the fall prevention program that I was talking to you about. This is a quick dashboard that lets you zoom in and look where we've installed smoke alarms.
I made it static.
Okay.
So just a picture of the dashboard, but I'm happy to share the dashboard with anybody. This is actually, I think, really cool. You can kind of compare, on the back end analysis, we can look at where fire calls are happening versus where they have been proactive in installing and checking smoke alarms. So I just think this is a really great data set to have. We built a hub for the fire marshal's department, so instead of all of this being done on paper, it's all digital now, and it all feeds directly into this map for them. So they can keep track of where they're going and how many they're installing each month.
Yep. We used to, if we went to your house and installed a smoke alarm, we had you sign a piece of paper and we took it back and filed it. Now everything's done electronically, and on the active screen of this, on the back end, I can actually zoom in on the house and see that we installed a smoke alarm on a Tuesday at President Dowdy's house, and his signature's captured and everything's right there. So it streamlines all of that for us. And
That was just an example. I don't want the people to think that you...
just an example. And there is a link there to request a smoke alarm if somebody needs one. We're always more than welcome to come out and put that up. Do you want to talk a little bit about the
Sure. This is another GIS solution that we implemented within the fire department. So again, a lot of everything was printed PDF based for them, and it was getting stuck in mailboxes and not making its way collectively. So what they were doing was having these printed pre-incident plannings where they'd go out to buildings, they'd assess where hazardous materials are, where the basements, stairwells, all this stuff is. None of it was mapped. And none of it is easily accessible when they're going out on a fire call. Now they have this all at the touch of their fingerprints. They have their laptops and their in their vehicles. They can pull up their pre-incident plan, and without even really looking at any detailed paperwork, they can see exactly where those hazards are, and where their key boxes are. All of the things are just right there, visually available, based on the work that they've already put in and done.
So that's,
assessing.
yeah, and that's what these icons are. These mean something to us. So the fire department connection on this building, which is clean air and filter on the corner of East Isabella and West Railroad. Then you have over here the Artie Greer building. So we've got a Knox box, we've got the water shut off, we've got the electric shut off, we've got the stairwell. So everything's marked. And this puts us in alignment with the NFPA standard that requires this to be accessible on emergency scenes. It's definitely been a tremendous, tremendous improvement. As somebody who oversaw the paper pre-incident planning thing, this is 10,000 times better and a lot easier for our people to use. So everyone's probably familiar with our SWIFT team. It talks a little bit about them, and then a little bit about our outreach and building a more resilient community by working together. And then if anybody wants to help, they can visit our website, email us, follow us on Facebook, and then just the credits. So this is forward-facing, and it will be updated routinely. And yeah, so I don't know if you have any questions, Kyle can maybe answer, but
Yeah.
want to add anything?
Well, I think just kind of those next steps out of taking this data and making actionable decisions, we're using a lot of data sets that we pay for, and we just want you to know that we're utilizing them. The housing study overlaid with our impervious surface building layer that we just got in, that will be used in a target hazard analysis where we look at building value versus building condition, and where to higher prioritize, where to start going and doing routine inspections and installing fire alarms and stuff like that. So we have the data, and if you guys, this is a plug for our data services department, if you guys like the visualization here, we have the capabilities to do all of this very quickly and easily. It's really about getting the data together and working with the teams, different teams throughout the city, to make sure that the information that we have is publicly available and is used to make, smarter, better decisions, because really the data speaks for itself. So it's there, and we can use it to help make better choices for everybody.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I would just echo that I was at a data analyst conference or symposium on Friday, and to have the quality GIS department that we have, would most municipalities pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have third parties come in and do what our data services team is doing. And she didn't pay me to say that. I'm just telling you that we are very fortunate to have them.
Yeah. Well, no, we appreciate the update and of course, the presentation on the risk assessment. And this is really good. It comes at a great time, because just Wednesday, we heard from the Information Services team of the rebranding and sort of new initiatives that they hope to bring with every department with information and data services. So we're seeing a real-time model and a use of these services. So, I would like to dedicate some time personally to see, what and how we, on the legislative and council side, we can use and just really learn more. So you'll see an email from me in the next couple of days on, I'm going to bug you and get some time, because this is wonderful. And like I said, you and I'm blanking on his name, but the assistant director, he was, yes, he was thoroughly excited. I could feel the passion for what he believes in. He has so many ideas. So
we really do love what we do, and I don't want to keep everybody here longer, but we have a lot of great resources, and we're here to make things work and happen for you guys. So
And you can get a discount on your homeowner's insurance if you live within like 4 minutes of a fire department.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's one of the, so yes, in development.
And I needed that.
Yes, in development, everyone knows that now insurance is actually one of the things that make or break either projects or personally owned insurance. Insurance is, one of those things that has gone up tremendously since COVID, but being near, if you are within a quarter of a mile, within a fire, hydrant or department, you're getting a huge discount. But then moreover, that is becoming one of the things. So having this resource here, because sometimes we'll have to go on Google Maps and do the view, and it can't be quite accurate in insurance. And adjusters and brokers, they're asking for these specifics. So this is a wonderful tool.
We
that
have a hydrant layer that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but she can probably create something
Yeah.
like that the public could easily.
Wonderful.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It is good.
Utility viewer maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I appreciate you guys doing it as someone who's a parent of a kid that utilizes your services far too often, I am very grateful for all the work that you do all the time, regardless, but this is an amazing tool, and I think that families in situations like mine will be very glad to see this. I think this is it's something that's amazing. That I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Help us promote it and push it out there.
Yes,
You got it.
we certainly will. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we'll invite up our Grants Manager Joellen Bynum.
Did you guys want a point of order? Did you guys want to flip-flop and just finish up the fire stuff?
Oh, we do have, yes, we have one more item. Is that okay? Is that okay with you, Ms.?
You're all so
Well,
close.
she's got two
you have
items.
two things too.
I don't know if we want to.
We're all here for the long haul, right? So we'll go ahead and move forward to an ordinance approving a budget amendment for FY 2025 general fund budget. Invite up members of our administration for the fire department. You all want to just state your name and title for the record, and then we'll get you going. Go ahead.
My name is Chris Twilley. I'm Assistant Chief Logistics, Salisbury Fire Department.
Chris Obarski, Deputy Chief of Now Operations for the Salisbury Fire Department.
Yes, we did just, yes. Yeah.
I'm here before you tonight for the ordinance for the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment for FY 25 general fund. Appropriate funds to Salisbury Fire Department operating budget after the city has been reimbursed $1,863.05 from the insurance proceeds for repairs to Assistant Chief vehicle involved in an accident. Not our fault.
I'd like to say again, not our fault.
Not our fault.
Another one, yeah.
It's Rob.
That was
We
it.
need you all to put
But this
these
is
vehicles
another
in park and just leave them there. Okay.
Completely different driver and a completely different vehicle.
Okay. You know where I was going.
Check the tape.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Council, any questions or discussion?
None.
All right. We have consensus to move this forward?
Yes.
All right. You just made it. You got $1,800. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Oh, in 5 cents. All right, you all be safe. Thank you. All right, we'll invite up Ms. Joellen, Grants Manager, for 2 items here. First, a resolution to approve the city's action plan for the CDBG Community Development Block Grant funds for the program year 2025.
Yes, good evening. The Finance Department Grants Office has completed the 2025 Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG, Action Plan in collaboration with various other departments that supply the information that's incorporated into this. Based on the program year 2024 allocation, we are estimating for program year 2025 that Salisbury's allocation will stay static at $346,673. The latest word we have from HUD is that they will announce the formula allocations mid-May. Typically, we've been receiving that word much earlier, usually in February. So at this point, we need to move forward. They still have requirements as to when the action plan has to be submitted, regardless of when they tell us what our exact allocation is going to be. So based on that estimation for the 2025 action plan, the following projects have been approved by the city administration. As we do every year, we are going to utilize 20% for general administration. So that would be approximately $69,334 of the program year 2025 allocation. And then the project for the year would be for the city of Salisbury, low, moderate ADA ramp, sidewalk construction, and pedestrian improvements. And the estimate for that is $277,339, which would give us the total of $346,673. Upon receipt of the program year 2025 allocation, the actual budgets will be proportionally increased or decreased from the estimated funding levels to match these actual allocation amounts. The first public hearing on the 2025 action plan has been held. That was on April 22nd, 2025 in the council chambers. And during that provided an overview of the 2025 action plan. And there were no citizen comments during that public hearing. And the second mandatory CDBG public hearing will be held May 8th, 2025, to provide the citizens with a status report on the current and past CDBG projects underway and completed in the last year. And they will also have an opportunity to comment at that time on the housing and community development needs of the city of Salisbury. This plan draft was made available for public review beginning April 4th, 2025, and the action plan is still posted on the city website under the Housing and Community Development Department, Community Development section. There's a 30-day public comment period, which will end on May 5th, 2025, and any comments received will be noted in the final action plan. At this time, I'm requesting your approval of the submitted resolution to accept the 2025 CDBG action plan for submission to HUD.
Thank you, Ms. Bynum. Question for you and the administration. Does administration have any plans for that 20%, the $69,000?
That's essentially what funds most of her salary. We do it every year. So if we'd like to keep Joellen, keep that money there.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Right. That's and then second question. Well, actually, I have two more. One, just the timing of this. Just in case council does have questions. I know we already had one public hearing and meeting, and then we talk about it in work session. And then there's another one. Should we alter the timing of that for next year? That way, you can go into the meetings fully prepared if council has any comments or questions on that. So you're not kind of doing it out of order or.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow what you're asking.
Just the first public hearing, is it required to happen before the work session? Is there order we can do?
No,
it? Okay.
that is a.
Okay, so maybe we can
HUD
work on
doesn't
that.
actually require you to even do a resolution to accept the action
Yeah.
plan. This is just something the city
Sure.
has always done. So.
I think
We could do that.
Let's
Yeah.
just change the order, just in case so you're not behind the eight ball. I know that HUD has certain timeline, and that's why I was worried, because again, you've already publicized this. HUD has strict, at least I know from working with HUD,
You're
they have like a 15-day, is this a ROFR, or is this this is just with CDBG, but I know they have 15-day and all those notices, and you have to kind of hit those when the public notices come out, so I don't want to alter that if council ever did in the future have any suggestions, so.
Right, the city actually has its own separate plan, which is even longer, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I'd pushed everything as late as I could, hoping we would have a real allocation.
Yes.
By now.
Yeah, I think we should just move it forward, just in case, and I don't want to put this behind, so next year we'll just push it forward a little bit, so there's no, so we don't, especially since some of this covers your salary, we want to make sure that this is all buttoned up and everything else. And then third, should we put the allocations in the actual resolution? Should we state that in there, or?
Knowing that they're placeholders right now, I'm not sure if we need to. From an
I may have asked the same question I think I asked the same question last year. I think that this is, but that's just my bringing for the legislation, just to make sure that we are allocating.
Would the actual allocations be in Schedule B? Will we have, if we know the funding amount?
It's on Schedule C.
Schedule C, yeah,
Schedule
C,
C.
not B, yeah. Just keeping you guys honest back there. No. Yeah, so when we have our grant Schedule C, that will be ultimately adopted. Hopefully, we'll have the final numbers that'll be part of the adopted budget, so we'll have the real numbers.
Those are my questions. Council? None? All right, we have consent to move forward?
Yes.
Fantastic. And you can move forward with the ordinance for the DHCD accepting the grants in the amount of $250.
Yes, the city made application in June 2024 to the State of Maryland's Department of Housing and Community Development Community Legacy Grant Program to continue stabilization activities at the Union Railway Station. And a grant in the amount of $250,000 was subsequently awarded for Phase 2, and the funding will be utilized to resume stabilization activities at the station, thereby accomplishing preservation for future development. A subrecipient agreement will be executed with Railroad Avenue Investments, LLC, to perform the stabilization activities upon the city's receipt of the fully executed returned agreement from the Department of Housing and Community Development. At this time, the council's requested to approve the budget ordinance to accept the grant funding and to authorize the signing of the submitted grant agreement.
Council, any questions, discussion? No, we have consensus to move this forward? All right, yep. Great, thank you, Ms. Ellen, Ms. Jo Ellen. And that is all for tonight. You are, not too, we got you, just after 9.
Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, we'll move forward with Mr. Kitzrow. We have 2 items here. First is an ordinance for the CIP for fiscal year 25, ending in fiscal year 2030, and then a presentation on the FY 26 mayor's proposed budget changes.
Sure. Bringing it back for a second discussion. Hopefully, since we've gone through the budget work session process and had a little bit more clarity on what we are funding and not funding, hopefully that's answered cleared up any of the questions for our CIP in the process. Again, want to apologize for maybe there being a misunderstanding of what we were going to be adopting, but you should have the summary page with what was our CIP, and then we also have the details of the specific projects. Again, a guiding document, not actually what was funded. You've seen what we put forward as our funding. So I'm here to answer any additional questions that were outstanding from last time.
We're looking at the CIP, the one we just went over?
Yeah, so just the entire document, this FY 26 through the FY 30. So what we adopted tonight was the actual funded projects, or not adopted, but in the budget work session, we discussed what was actually funded, not necessarily what was part of the planning document. So when you review the planning document, you'll see all the items that people had requested. Not all of those were actually funded. So as I mentioned, general capital projects were around $11 million, and we cut about half of that. So the items in the CIP that ended up getting funded is on our general capital projects general fund. That was the AEDs and heart monitors, the fire replacement, the apparatus replacement for the engine, the neighborhood infrastructure improvements, the radios for the police department, half of the property and records department management system expansion for the police department, replacement of the HVAC chiller, Naylor Mill Bridge, replacement, our local match, the AZA reaccreditation improvements at the zoo, Poplar Hill building improvements, the West Salisbury Community Center. That was for the general fund. I can go through the water and sewer fund unless there's questions on the CIP. So again, we're adopting the CIP. As you know, there's several items on FY 26 that I didn't read to you just then. They were not funded. Just again, there's more asks typically than there are dollars to go around. So as we use a planning document, it's important to note that the requests typically are needs in the CIP. So though I'd say kick the can a little bit, some of the stuff is just deferred, and we will have to eventually get to it. Our CIP also highlights items that are what we call grant or contribution. There are things that we'd like to do, but would be seeking additional funding. So that is part of our CIP. So whether that's grant funding or private donations.
And just a reminder for the public that we did not take out anything for the neighborhood infrastructure improvements. We didn't decrease that. At the end, we switched it back to the million. And
thank you.
yeah, I just want to remind people of that.
So anything on the actual document or any of the specific items that you wanted to go over or process? No.
Council? No.
I'm here till midnight if you, okay.
No.
We're not supposed to feed you after midnight, right?
I'm not here till midnight. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Sure. All right.
No questions. Council consensus, move this forward.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kittredge, did you do everything in one? Did you go over the budget?
No, that was
just the
CIP.
CIP?
Yep,
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Now the proposed budget changes.
Sure. So a little bit of redundancy from earlier today, but what is included in the packet, and this is more to allow the public, because it is a work session item, to have any comments that they would like to make based off of what is proposed in the mayor's funded request. For the general fund, it's $803,000, and on the water and sewer, it's $769,000. You have a summary of what was proposed in the mayor's budget. Since this proposal, there's been one modification to this that we essentially agreed to tonight. We reduced a line item that was for city promotions. That was $47,500. That was funded in our budget for a contract for Rept and Zen City, two of our software platforms to help with our communications. That was to cover the funding through the fiscal year of 2026, but we all agreed to fund that, reduce that down to just our contractual obligations, which would conclude at the end of the calendar year. So we cut that number in half. The rest is still currently in the council's budget as presented.
We talked about the consulting fees. We never did, so that's the $1,200, didn't we?
Is that the lobby?
Yes, it's $7,500.
Yeah.
Yep, I think we highlighted it, but it never made it to a sheet, so it's still sitting in there. What would you like to drill down on that specifically?
I think we kind of discussed it at the budget session that we didn't see. We didn't see the value from it. We didn't get the input from it, and I know I don't know. Is he scheduled to come to speak with us? Consequently, he's actually at another meeting right now at a different municipality. I found out, so I would love for him to either come talk to us or what was shared, or he's at a different municipality sharing what was discussed. But
Paul Ellington?
Sure. So and we had some suggestions that I've talked to some people. So either increasing that to get a different person or firm, or having some input, or just to.
Would you want to interview Paul? Is that what you're suggesting?
He worked with us this past year. His contract is still active.
Okay.
He's not had an opportunity to come present some of his findings and the value, so I think we could invite him to a work session.
That'd be great.
I think moving forward, like to
Moving
get some,
forward, okay.
because council has some discussions, questions. So if we are going to hire someone, I think making it an effort and kind of just so at least meet the person who is speaking on behalf of our city. I think there's some value in that, or helping to solicit the firm, or I don't know.
And what was done and what wasn't done? Why didn't it work? I mean, we didn't get anything, did we, through this lobbying this year?
Historically, that's been the case. I think last year was really a tough year in general. But
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
I mean, I would like to just get an opportunity to speak with him, find out what the priorities were, what he was going for, that sort of thing. I'd like to, and I think the public would probably like to hear from him too. Okay.
Anything else so again, we see you have the list in front of you. It's broken down by general fund and the water and sewer. I think we hit most of these items during our budget work session, but I wanted, again, an opportunity if anybody in the public wanted to provide additional feedback. So I'll stop there.
Any other questions? No?
No.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kittredge. All right, now we'll pivot to the public comments portion of the agenda. If anyone has any comments on any of the above items that were presented during the work session, you are welcome to the podium. And again, you have 3 minutes.
Hello again. I had the absolute, enjoyment seeing the council and the administrator and the mayor and everyone working together, and actually saw some laughter. saw y'all laughing and enjoying and bringing the budget together. I spent the 2 days in the chambers with y'all. I think it was 8 hours a day, 16 hours. Didn't think I was going to go back to work. However, it was actually enjoyable to watch it and eye-opening, and y'all did a fantastic job. I just hope you do keep Shoemaker Manor in mind and ensure that we get the proper attention that we need in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Okay. Thank you all. We will pivot to the administration comments for updates. You all have the floor.
Appreciate the last couple of weeks with budget. I know it's not across the finish line yet, but we made it through tonight.
Yes.
And we did have a little bit of laughter, which was fun. Another rock star event at the zoo this past weekend with the Earth Day celebration, which was fantastic, and then a zoo stampede. Another event, another weekend with over a couple thousand people. We're really doing well out there, so hats off to the zoo staff and all of our teams and ABC who are helping put those on, and thanks for the public for coming out. I'm going to stop there because we've been here a while.
Yeah, I'll go quickly as well. Couple things. Just wanted to shout out to Salisbury Christian School. Went to the play last night, Into the Woods, which was really interesting, really good. The kids are talented kids. It's amazing. A small school like that could have that many talented kids. One thing I wanted to add to Shoemaker Manor, which I guess I had missed, and I had a conversation with Heather last week, about the thinness of the road. Apparently that was either an old spec or never got done properly. I don't know where it was, but I was not aware of that component. I was aware of the problem, was not aware of that. So that does change the formula a little bit in terms of my perspective on it originally. So I definitely want to see you guys get straightened out, but that does make a meaningful difference in terms of the layering and not having the right base and that sort of thing. So that's it. So, hey, I'm glad we have made it largely through the budget process without killing each other, and that's good. It's really good. It's very positive.
I did see them laugh. I really did.
Well,
That's good.
yeah. Yeah. We had police presence at all times, but it was,
A first, actually.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other comments or updates? Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
Council?
I just want to put a plug in for Poplar Hill Mansion is having their festival coming up on the 4th. I can't recall the time, and I couldn't find it for some reason on my new tablet. I still haven't gotten this tablet fully set up yet. But you can check them out on Facebook, and they've got all the information on there as well. And it's a good time. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say we had another successful Easter egg hunt at the Village of Mitchell Pond for the community. And I was so amazed to see
Never heard of it.
some 17-year-olds out there playing games. I mean, actually playing like musical chair, tug of war, because you don't get to see that very often. Because at 17, they basically think they're grown. But no, they were having so much fun, and it just amazed me. And I will continue to do these events.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Yes, just a couple of things. Those of you that go to the Henry Parker Athletic Complex, I have something else for you to do. They actually have the Naylor Mill Forest Trail there. And they opened it up this past weekend, not opened it up, but they showcased it this past weekend. And you have 5+ miles of trail that they have all worked on, and they are collaborating with the Maryland Eastern Shore Trail Network. And it's just, you can take your dog, you can take your mountain bike, you can walk yourself, whatever you want to do. The other thing is, I know that you mentioned the zoo over there. They're doing a phenomenal job, and if I had time, because it's 9:15, there is a whole sheet that is worth reading about celebrating a year of progress, partnership, and purpose. It is unbelievable what they are doing, and please come out to support them anytime that you can. Quick update, Metropolitan Planning Commission, We were presented with two things to go over at the last meeting, and one was the importance of the Port of Salisbury. And the reason being, it's identified as a freight hub for the Delmarva Peninsula. And Andy and I were both on the Zoom meeting for that. It's home to 6 maritime-based businesses. So what they are proposing, that the Marine Highway route designation, that the Wicomico River becomes a portion of that, and they cut through Hooper Strait, I believe, to connect us. And it will open up, if you read the numbers as far as how much traffic is on our roads and the trucks and the holdup, and because of congestion, what it costs not only the drivers, but the wear and tear on the roads, there is a great need, and it makes perfect sense to get more barges in the Wicomico, and it's a selling point for new businesses. The other thing is to see what Warwick has planned for the future, and they wanted a traffic impact study, so that when they're increasing in their plan for the next 4 or 5 years, they're advancing, or, on the campus, an access route onto Route 50. And so that's, something to consider to prevent a lot of congestion on that. And one last thing.
Oh, my God.
Support, what'd you say? All right, I'm
messing with you.
I'm gonna suggest, wait.
On the list, I tell you.
I know.
Hey, Randy.
I'm totally
Go ahead, do what you're supposed to.
The shield goes.
I am going to volunteer that you and Andy do the drop off the Ross building to support United Ways off the edge this weekend. It is Friday night, and it is a fundraiser, and it's for Alice. And those of you that don't know Alice, it's called Over the Edge, you two. You can do it.
They're
already over the edge.
We're pushing Alan off the roof.
Yeah.
I'm out of town. It's my 10-year anniversary, but otherwise I would have been jumping off Batman style.
Okay, you get a pass.
Anyway, anyone that's interested, it's 12 until 7, so the jumpers are 12 to 5. And it's a fundraiser, and what it is in our county, 38% of the households qualify for help from ALICE, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and they're employed, so they don't fit into a category of need, and the United Way helps. So now I'm finished, the rest of you.
If I jumped off that building.
So that's it.
Thank you, Councilwoman DeShiel. Councilor Sears, any comments?
No.
Okay.
No, enough has been said. It's been a long night. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah, so we appreciate you all's patience, and I had to say that it was definitely an enjoyable budget sessions that we had. We talked through some things and gained some more insight, and so thank you all for the public for your comments and for being here as well. Only thing I have, I echo the mayor's thoughts on Salisbury Christian School. I went to the one of their productions, or one of the days of productions, and those kids are definitely talented, way talented than I could have been to remember all those lines and recite them, and definitely the enthusiasm. So I appreciate them for definitely inviting us from the city. I sat next to President Cannon from the county, and we actually were cordial that day. So the city and county were cordial during the whole production. Yeah. Oh, that's why he was there. Okay. And definitely shout out to the zoo. I went to their the retirement party for Shaska, and that was just to learn of what the zoo is going to become in the next few years is amazing, for that to be a staple in our community. So I will continue to highlight that, and we definitely have a true asset here, so we need to continue to tout that here as being the only free zoo in the state of Maryland, and definitely only one of 2, and so we have a gem here in our city. And so thank you all to the staff and the ABCD department and the zoo staff who make that possible. So with that and nothing else being said, this meeting is now adjourned, and we'll see you next time.